Got a hankerin for steak? Don't want to break the bank? Texas Roadhouse is the place to be, and here's why we think so. A meal at Texas Roadhouse starts with quality beef. While you can mask an average or low-quality cut of meat with heavy seasoning, you can't mimic the juiciness and flavor of a genuine high-grade beef. Texas Roadhouse selects USDA-certified beef that has been grain-finished for 120 days. While that may sound like a lot of marketing jargon, the truth is that these terms indicate enhanced flavor and texture in the chain steaks. Grain-finished means the cattle freely roamed pastures for most of their lives and were fattened up with hay, grains, and corn just before slaughter. This results in meat that is buttery, flavorful, and sweet, allowing it to become fork tender when cooked. The term USDA certified is given to steaks that adhere to a strict grading system that determines the meat's quality. The scale starts with prime, followed by choice and select. The rankings reflect the amount of marbling in the cut, an indispensable factor in keeping the meat moist as it cooks. USDA prime beef boasts the highest amount of marbling for the juiciest final product, while choice has slightly fewer streaks of fat and select is the leanest, lacking the same rich flavors and marbling as the other grades. Texas Roadhouse typically serves choice cuts, ensuring a good balance of fine meat and fatty tenderness.
If it doesn't say Texas, it's not Texas Roadhouse.
Despite that famous slogan, Texas Roadhouse actually sources its beef from various locations around the world, including Australia, Canada, and the US Midwest. Meanwhile, the steakhouse chain promises to always use fresh, never frozen meat. The words fresh and never frozen paint a homey, farm-to-table feel, but they also suggest that you'll receive a more tender and tastier steak on your plate. That's because fresh meat boasts a higher nutrient count and contains a stronger flavor. While freezing beef can be a convenient way to extend its expiration date, it does risk losing that flavor if done improperly. This is because moisture within the muscle crystallizes when frozen, potentially damaging the cut's inherent qualities. By cooking fresh, Texas Roadhouse ensures a juicier cut, brimming with its natural nutrients, eliminating any risk of flavor loss in the freezing or thawing process. Let's face it, cooking the perfect steak at home can be a little daunting. Most meat eaters prefer beef that is charred on the outside and juicy within, but several factors influence the final product. From marbling, muscle fibers, and quality to the proper cooking techniques and tools, steak is one of those dishes many of us prefer to leave to the professionals, and this goes for cutting the beef too. Before landing on your plate, every steak at Texas Roadhouse meets the skilled hands of a meat cutter. These professionals are trained to hand-cut the perfect slab of meat, leaving only the best bits for the customer. Hand-cutting steaks allows the meat to be left whole upon delivery, retaining all its moisture and guaranteeing greater consistency and even cooking in every cut. As one Texas Roadhouse meat cutter explained to Market Screener, "We have a cut across the grain technique to maintain just the right marbling so the restaurant can serve the tastiest, most succulent steaks." Once the beef arrives at Texas Roadhouse, meat cutters guide it through an in-house aging process. Aging the cuts in a controlled and salty environment helps break down tough muscle fibers, resulting in a richer, more succulent final product. When it comes to beef, the aging process can be wet or dry. Dry aging means leaving the steak in an open-air space free of contaminants, while wet aging means leaving the cut in a vacuum-sealed package with its natural juices. Now, Texas Roadhouse hasn't actually confirmed whether it employs wet or dry aging, but their steaks' melt-in-your-mouth buttery nature suggests that wet aging might be at play here. Because wet-aged steaks retain practically all of their natural moisture, fans of the method swear the meat is juicier and sweeter with a more nuanced, meaty flavor. On the other hand, dry-aged steaks are like a punch of umami to the face and only require a little salt and pepper. Still, wet-aged steaks are said to pair better with seasonings and sauces. In any case, two Texas Roadhouse employees shared in a cooking segment on WBRC that the restaurant's steaks are aged for ample time.
They spend days and days in a 34-degree below cooler.
This can be anywhere from 2 weeks for tenderloins up to 25 days for all other cuts, allowing the meat plenty of time to reach its peak tenderness and flavor profile. Seasoning is another key component to Texas Roadhouse's steaks. The restaurant's blend of spices, herbs, and salts doesn't drown the meat's natural goodness, but highlights and complements its robust flavors. A former employee revealed on Reddit that Texas Roadhouse cooks slather both sides of each steak in a healthy dose of the proprietary seasoning before searing them and cementing the flavors. While this seasoning might be the key to the flavor of Texas Roadhouse's steaks, however, you won't be taking any home anytime soon. The company briefly put its sirloin seasoning up for sale in 2015, but that webpage has since been taken down, and nothing appears to have taken its place. Luckily, a few online listings have given internet sleuths a taste of what that seasoning might include. Although unavailable to buy, the Texas Roadhouse sirloin seasoning on Amazon features ingredients such as sugar, garlic, and onion, paprika, turmeric, and a rather confusing umbrella term of spices. Commenters on another Reddit thread guessed that one of these mysterious spices could be chili powder. Sadly, though, we can't know for sure. When you order a steak at Texas Roadhouse, the meat is always cooked fresh to order. According to a purported former Texas Roadhouse cook writing on Quora, the chain's method for cooking steaks involves a flat-top grill surrounded by 2 gas grills. The flat tops are cranked up to a sizzling 500 degrees Fahrenheit and coated in soybean oil, which is widely considered to be a great cooking oil for meats thanks to its neutral flavor. Chefs slather the steaks in Texas Roadhouse's proprietary seasoning before searing each side on the flat top for 1 minute. After 2 minutes of searing, chefs transfer the steaks to the gas grills, where they cook to your requested doneness. And there's still one crucial step left after this: resting. Letting the meat rest before serving is essential because the steak will continue cooking even after being taken off the grill. The meat's juices also rise during cooking, meaning that they can spill out if you cut into the steak immediately. Resting lets the muscle fibers relax, evenly redistributing the juices. At Texas Roadhouse, chefs allow steaks to rest for about 2 minutes. Texas Roadhouse's meat speaks for itself, but the restaurant's sauces really take it to the next level. For example, the chain's tender filet medallions are typically topped with a peppercorn or portobello mushroom sauce. A Texas Roadhouse chef divulged in a cooking segment on WTAP that the sauce's flavor comes from portobellos and condensed mushroom soup, cooked down and combined with pepper, garlic, and sugar. Filet medallions are currently the only steak option topped with sauce, but if you love to dip, each table also has a bottle of Texas Roadhouse's steak sauce. The proprietary sauce blends classic smoky flavors with somewhat more unique ingredients, such as raisin paste and tamarind extract. A Texas Roadhouse steak eaten outside of its charming and sometimes corny home just wouldn't taste the same. Who doesn't love the all-out Americana seen in many of the chain's restaurants, complete with wood paneling, longhorn cattle skulls, and flashy neon jukeboxes? Interestingly, each location decorates the walls with local murals and memorabilia, giving each its own unique and homey feel. Texas Roadhouse's staff, popularly known as roadies, also go the extra mile to make guests feel at home. Apart from the hourly server line dances that help frame your meal as a hoedown spectacle, the waitstaff are often applauded for their Southern-style hospitality and excellent service. Or as Willie puts it,
If you're ready for a good night of fun and partying, go to the Texas Roadhouse. They know how to do it right.
Founder Kent Taylor even went so far as to originally source staff by visiting other restaurants and recruiting the most charming servers. The trick behind most of Texas Roadhouse's steaks is quickly searing and grilling the meat to create flavorful crusts and help lock in moisture. The chain does nearly the opposite with its prime rib, however, cooking it slow and low to achieve that delicious meaty tenderness. On a local news cooking segment, a Texas Roadhouse chef revealed the chain's proven prime rib process. His first tip was to not be scared of the meat, generously massaging the slab of prime rib with spices and herbs. He included soy sauce, honey, and garlic to create an irresistible sweet and salty combo that boasts extra moisture. He also explained that the meat needs to be marinated for at least 4 hours before cooking. After marinating, the chain's chefs slide the prime rib into a 300-degree oven and let it slow roast for around 4 hours. This gives the meat's tight collagen strands plenty of time to dissolve. The chefs check the prime rib with a thermometer as the meat roasts, removing it when the steak is nearly medium done, serving it crispy and brown around the edges, but juicy and pink throughout. The final step is to give the steak an estimated 15 minutes of rest time, allowing carryover cooking to achieve that perfect final texture. If you're not keen on forking and knifing your way through a 20-ounce steak, you can still savor Texas Roadhouse's succulent meat in a slightly different manner. If you've ever been to a branch of Texas Roadhouse, you're probably familiar with the basket of rolls and honey cinnamon butter on every table.
This is gonna be the cheesiest thing I've ever said, but I swear we make them with love.
Homemade and baked fresh every 5 minutes, these rolls are irresistible by themselves. But you may not have realized that you can also use them to build an irresistible steak slider. Since this isn't something you can order from the waiter, it's technically not a secret menu item, so consider it more of a Texas Roadhouse hack. Save a few buns and a bit of butter for when your steak arrives, or just order another basket. Then cut your steak into bite-sized pieces. Open the buns, spread some butter, and stuff the meat inside. The buns are almost as soft as cinnamon rolls, so paired with the juiciness and umami flavor from the steak, you'll have your hands on a sweet and savory masterpiece. This menu hack can be enjoyed with any steak on Texas Roadhouse's menu, but the filet medallions would be a great option because they're served in 3 small, tender fillets. An impassioned TikTok user who had dined at the restaurant shared that these sliders are also a great option if you're on a budget. Eaten this way, a single steak could feasibly feed a family of 8. Price is a factor that can really take you out of the moment during a dine-in meal. After all, who really enjoys cutting into a steak while simultaneously dreading how much it'll drain your bank account? Indeed, many would consider eating at a steakhouse to be a fine dining luxury, and with beef prices steadily increasing, this is often the case. The great thing about Texas Roadhouse, however, is that its steaks are often considered to be fine dining quality with a chain restaurant price tag. The company has famously kept its steaks cheaper than competitors, helping you forget the cost and focus on the flavor. So how can the restaurant keep prices so low? Well, as affordable steaks are foundational to the restaurant's ethos, Texas Roadhouse has mastered a few techniques to keep things cheap without ever having to sacrifice quality. Each location employs an in-house butcher who expertly cuts meat with minimal waste, meaning that the butchering process remains both eco-friendly and cheap. The chain also saves costs by rarely changing the menu, allowing the chefs to excel where they're best and saving money on advertising changes. A steadier menu also allows the chain to set up long-term contracts with its beef suppliers, helping to protect prices against economic fluctuations and uncertainty.